Masachet Sanhedrin Daf Daled, we're continuing from Chima Amud Bet's second wide line. To number nine, Bertha says, the monetary cases are judged by three. Rabbi Yomer says no. Hamisha, you need five. Kadeshi Yamer Adin Bishlosha, so that you can have the verdict via three. Agmar says that's Latamilo Gamara Dina Beretre, so just do three, and then you'll have the verdict of two, majority. What's the problem? Gemara says no. Achi Kamar, Rabbi means as follows. You need the verdict to be done through three. Alma Kasavar Tatlaki Ktivi Be'echmar Dina Ktivi. Rabbi holds that when the Pasuk says you need three judges, it means you need three judges for the verdict. Now, Megadef Bar Rabbi Avav did not like that at all. He says, that's how you think the Pasuk works. The big Sanhedrin has 71 judges, but if you hold the Pasuk teaches you that's how much you need for the verdict, you should need 141 judges. So that you can have 71 judges as the verdict. Similarly, the medium Sanhedrin, you should have 45 judges, so that you can have the judge's verdict via 23. Ella must be really no. When the Pasuk says, Pasuk says, gather me 70 men for the big Sanhedrin, that means gather me 70. That is the total you need even for the verdict. Also, when you have the case of 23 judges, Pasuk says, take 10, take 20. That's from the beginning. You have to gather that many. So too regarding money cases. When the Pasuk talks about gathering three judges, you only need three judges, you don't need five. So, what could be the explanation that Rabbi holds five? Allah Hainu Tamad Rabbi holds as follows. Asher Yarshi'un Elohim Pasuk says when the judges shall condemn. This is plural. Tre referring to two judges. We have the pasuk mentioned twice, one above, one on bottom in the sugyot. So just like the first time it says two, so two second time two. You can't have even man judges. That's only four. You have to add a fifth. Now we have five. Rabbanan disagree. He says no. The pasuk says the second time. It says it without a vav. And because it says without a vav, it is you pronounce it the way it's written, which is singular. Rabbi held that since it's you go according to the pronunciation, yarshi'un yarshi'un, therefore it's plural. That's how he got 4 plus 1. Over here, Hachamim saying no, that second one that you did is not plural, it's singular because it's spelled without the vav. Now, Rabbi Yitzchak ben Yosef ben Rechnan, Rabbi Yehuda ben Reis, ben Shmai, ben Rishon ben Akiva, close really Rabbi Yosef ben Mikra. All these rabbis, including Rabbi we just mentioned, goes according to how we pronounce things in the pasuk, not according to how it's spelled. If it's spelled singular but it's pronounced plural, we go according to pronunciation. Okay? Rabbi Adam Ram, we just mentioned Rabbi, how we know that. Rabbi ben Reis says as follows. Tana Rabbi says, Sha'alu Tamidim Rabbi ben Reis, the students asked the rabbi, Ekra ani shiv'im. The pasuk which says shivuayim for a woman that after she becomes tameh for giving birth to a girl, it says shivuayim, but it's spelled with the same letters as shivim. Maybe she should become tameh for 70 days. He says no. Timeh v'tiher bezachar. Pasuk says how long a woman has a tahara and tuma period by giving birth to a boy. And also a tuma and tahara period for one who gives birth to a girl. Just like the amount of time the pasuk says she's tahara period after having a boy is double than the girl, right? The tahara for a boy is 33 days and the girl is 66 days. The girl is double rather. So the tum'ah days is also doubled. Boy is 7, so the girl's 14, 2 weeks. Don't think it's 70. After he left, he chased after them and said, whoa, I have a better answer. Don't listen to that first answer. I have a simpler answer. We pronounce the word shivuayim, which means 2 weeks, 14 days. We go according to pronunciation. That's the proof that Rabbi Akiva, that Rabbi Yehuda writes. Next, Bet Shammai. How do you know Bet Shammai holds? We go according to pronunciation. Bet Shammai says, all korbanot brought outside on the outside korban, which is the mizbeah ha-nechoshet, is done with one throwing of blood on the mizbeach, even though the pasuk says you need two. One's the minimum. Kiper, it works. Shneimar pasuk says, and regarding the kohatat, you need 2 minimum out of the 4 required. Bet says no. Even hatat, you just need 1 out of 4. Rabbi says, why does Bet Shammai say that 2 is necessary for a hatat? Because he says, karnot. The pasuk says the word karnot, which is the horns, the corners of the mizbeach. It says it 3 times, and each one is plural. So therefore, harekan shesh, minimum of 6. Arba al mitzvah, 4 teaches that the mitzvah to do 4. Ushtaim la'akev, and 2 is the minimum. Ubet el minimum says no. Karnot, karnot, karnot. 2 of them are written without the vav, and therefore harekan arba, 1 plus 1 plus 2. Rima al mitzvah va'achad la'akev teach you 3s for the mitzvah, and 1 corner is the minimum. The Gemara says ima kulu mitzvah be all 4 mitzvah. You don't have to do any of them. It'll be patur. It'll work even without doing it. The Gemara says no. Kapara ashkina. Ashkahan, it can't be that you get kapara without actually doing any action, and therefore you have to have a minimum of 1. Rabbi Shimon holds that you go according to pronunciation. Tana says, the walls of sukkah, you have 3 walls, and the third one can be a tefach minimum. Rabbi Shimon says, no, 3 full walls, and the fourth one can be the tefach. What's the machok itself? Rabbanan holds that you go according to the way it's written. Rabbi Shimon goes according to pronunciation. We know that Rabbanan holds to go according to written form. Basukot, basukot, basukot. 2 of the words of basukot is written with vav. It was 1 plus 1 plus 2. Arekan arba. Dal had you take away one of those because that you need to introduce the sugya of sukkah. That leaves 3 walls. I knows that with that last wall, that third wall, can be a tefach. Therefore, I have 2 plus tefach. Rabbi Shimon savar basukot basukot basukot. Rabbi Shimon says no, they're all pronounced plural with the vav as if the vav is there, and therefore harekan shesh, that's 6. Dal had you take away one of them to introduce the halacha of sukkah. You can't learn from that. Therefore, we have 4. And therefore, then the halacha continues to you that the fourth is a minimum of tefach, can be minimum tefach, and therefore we have 3 plus 1. Rabbi Akiva also holds that you go according to pronunciation. Tanah says, Rabbi Akiva says, in general, we know that a revi'it of blood from a corpse, a certain amount of blood from a corpse that bleeds out, that has tumat met, just like the corpse itself. And therefore, he says, however, that how do we know that a revi'it of blood can come from 2 corpses, which is basically an eighth from 2 corpses, combined will make a quarter of a revi'it, and therefore can make someone tameh through an oil that they're standing under the same roof. Shemar Pasuk says, Al kol nafshot met le'avod. Pronunciation of the Pasuk is, you should not approach the dead bodies. 2 bodies can make 1 revi'it of blood, and you'll be chayav. Rabbanan say no, only 1 person, 1 revi'it from 1 person, and you can't combine. Nafshot k'tiv, because he says the word is spelled without a vav, seemingly singular, and therefore 1 body is needed to make the revi'it. He holds 1 second. All these cases, it cannot be that you actually hold, you go according to what's written in the Torah versus pronunciation. And I'll prove it to you. The Torah says, Bahalev imo. Pasuk says you can't cook meat and milk together. That's where we learn it from. It's spelled with patah, sere, chalev imo, which teaches you milk. However, if you technically want to go according to written, you can also learn it. Yachol b'chalev. Maybe it's chalev, which means the fat of the animal. Maybe the pasuk is teaching you that it can't be possible. The pasuk is teaching you you can't have fat and milk, and maybe milk and be mutar. Therefore, it must be amat yeshem mikra. Therefore, it's teaching you it must be. We have to learn that we go according to pronunciation. That is milk, and therefore all cases it goes according to pronunciation, and therefore there is no proof at all that you go according to written. Now we have to understand all the machlokets we had until now of all the opinions who seemingly held that you can go according to written against and not pronunciation. Has the whole pronunciation. Whether it's 3 or 5 judges argue as follows. Rabbi holds that second pasuk of the second pasuk of plural judges is referring to 2 new judges. So 3 plus 2. Rabbanan say no. When it's not saying another round of Elohim of 2 judges, but rather it's just quoting what we said earlier, and therefore it said 2, and therefore we add to have plus 1. That's the same talking over here. We don't add 2 more. Rabbi it's the case of the woman. Nobody argued against him to say that you go according to the way it's written, and therefore we have no problem with that machloket. The next machloket, the case of the blood of the mizbeach, Tanya Barta says, v'chiper, the pasuk says in regards to kapara, He says it three times. Yeah, you need get kapara. Seemingly that you only need one. It says anytime you do v'chiper, anytime it works. Ibn Adin, that's how we explain it. Gemara says, one second, it doesn't make sense. It says blood regarding the lower part of the Mizbeach, and also have blood on the top of the Mizbeach, like Yom Kippur. Just like in the type of the blood in the lower half of the Mizbeach, if the Kohen did it in one shot, it's kapara. So two above would be mutar. So seemingly, you don't need the pasuk of v'chiper to teach me that. You can learn it elsewhere. So, one second, but maybe we can't prove from there because maybe nemad min bahutz. It says blood, to give blood outside the outside in the mizbeach outside of the mikdash. The nemad min b'fnim it also has the blood inside the mikdash by the mizbeach haktoret. Mad min b'fnim heiser achab matnot lo asav lokum. Just like the mizbeach inside, if you don't do any of the, if you skip one of the bloods, it doesn't count. Maybe outside, if you don't do it, it doesn't count. So maybe we're not sure which way to learn. Now we're stuck between two different ways of learning it. So maybe let's make comparisons. That in Hut Mehut, do we maybe learn the Korban Hatat halacha from the outside Mizbeach to the other halachot of the outside Mizbeach? And therefore you can't compare to the Korbanot inside the Mizbeach of the inside Mizbeach, which you can't skip any. Maybe you should look at it elsewhere. Maybe you have to learn the halacha of the outside korbanot from because that's like a type of hatat, and the hatat also is done inside the mizbeach. And you can't bring a proof from a different type of korban, which is not a hatat. And therefore, since we are completely stuck about not knowing which way to learn without the pasuk. Therefore, Talmud Umar v'chiper 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 the mepnei hadin. The pasuk is teaching you the word v'chiper three times as follows: Kaper afapi shelo natan ela shlosha. You get kapara even if you only did three. Kiper afapi shelo natan ela shtayim. You get kapara even if you only did twice. Kiper it says another time afapi shelo natan ela achat. We learn from here. Beti teaches you that you only need one minimum from the pasuk. Rabbi Shimon Mirban the Habak Mifki. Now, the mahloket regarding the sukkah, we said, and we have to fix that too. Rabbi Shimon holds that you don't need me to teach the word sukkah in the first place, and therefore all pesukim teach me how many walls are needed for. Rabbanan said, no, you do need the pasuk, and therefore you only need three, and that third wall is tefach. Rabbanan Kiva and Hachmim regarding the blood is as follows. Rabbi Akiva savar nafshot tarti mashma. Rabbi Akiva holds him and says nafshot, it sounds like two corpses because it's plural, and therefore two corpses can make one liter of blood. Rabbanan says no, nafshot ba'alma mashme. It just says any type of corpse, you need 1/4 of blood, not corpses is automatic. You can make blood from multiple corpses, but rather any type of corpse, stam corpses, general corpses, you need 1/4 of blood of revi'it in order to make someone tameh.